whatever the guideline is, whatever the scheme, whatever the process, but the objective overall is that what is the outcome, final outcome. When a student, whether in a school education or a vocational education or in higher education or in a PMKY kind of thing, the ultimate motive is that to give a output with a positive response, positive skills, their improvement in behavior, their improvement in technical skill. So that's what all the things are going on. So the problem, the challenges faced us since the last 10, 15 years, that's students who are coming from any institutions, any such institutions of a big name or a lesser name are coming, and they are on shop floor and getting that they are not good to do something for that because they are learning while they are working. Okay. So an industry wanted to have a manpower who is a day one employable, means that they will give an outcome from day one. So the ultimately government of India also thought in initial stage that will start such thing, and that they have defined NSQF, which carrying a NSQF level certification, level 1 to 10, depending upon his skill set. That's a performance skill, that's a creativity skill, that's a knowledge, behavioral, all such thing. So this the initiative was very good started by that time. Uh, that time Finance Minister Mr. Pranab Mukherjee was there, Monting Singh Ahluwalia was there, Jairam Ramesh was there. So they have given contributed towards NSQF guidelines. It is not mean that we didn't have any guideline. We had a guideline like a NCVT and other so many guidelines were there. But that to club in into one guideline which will be applicable across, that was NSQF guideline. Okay. So the thing they have modified it, and this NSQF guideline superseded all other guidelines for vocational training. Nowadays, if I will directly come to the point, when National Education Policy was announced, the meaning of skilling and the growth of a skilling activity become changed. Of course, changed because what has happened now is school, colleges, everywhere student will have to get that skill certificate, and that's what importance of NSQF is also increased. The organization like Voc Skill and other institutions across the country willing to coordinate with the schools and providing them or making them aware about the schemes, benefit of the schemes, and how the student will get benefited of the scheme. Because it's a true thing that when we were student, we have done a 10th, 12th, then BSc, MSc, MTech, whatever. Now it's entirely changed as new education policy come up. And new education policy also is framed by this NSQF guideline. Whether you are in school or college, you will have to undergo this. So this will be an additional advantage to student, and student will be more powerful or more strengthened through this. So the objective of this is that student will really be able to do something, not only just that's a formal or a traditional thing. That's definitely that's having a separate value of it. But now, as per demand and industry choice, the student need to know the how the job is to be done, whether it's a painting, art, creativity kind of job, or whether it's a manufacturing job, or whether it's a service class job. So things now defined, and everybody wants to have that the people who is working will give the final outcome. So that's the NSQF guideline is. And in schools, I would like to thank Mr. Agrawal that in Maharashtra she has initiated this, because earlier we were there with in Maharashtra, in Mumbai and other state of Maharashtra also. We are with the good celebrities also. There the trainings are also going on Wailing Woods, in Terence Lewis Academy, in BPA, Mumbai Institute of Performing Art. But similar way, the Miss Agrawal, who is just connecting with the school colleges, there a NSQ flight training can also be implemented, and we are okay with it, and we will provide as much as support they require whenever. The ultimately, all of us, we wanted to have a student with the outcome based, quality based training, outcome based skills, so that they will, whenever they will come out from schools or vocational institutions, they will have their path to go ahead. At least they will decide that where they wanted to go. What has happened that after graduation, people thinking that what to do, will have to go to banking job, will have to go to railway job, or will have to go to UPSC kind of job. So now their inclination towards or interest towards a particular field, whatever it is, whether for media, whether for food, whether for mining, whether for capital goods, anywhere, student will be able to understand that what he will have to do in future. They will not be confused in choosing the jobs for their future, and they will come with some specific skills where he will have to go. So that's a basic point of this, how to go ahead. So Mr. Agarwal asked a very good question, how to go ahead. That's there is a guideline, pathway, everything is defined. And I will be happy to share you whenever you want to have some idea of these steps, paths, how to go ahead. I will be definitely happy to share that, and will always provide the most possible guideline to you all. That's from my side, from Media and Internet Skills Council. And that's it. If you'll say, especially about this sector, this is a really a true and aspirational sector with a lots of career opportunities. After this COVID effect also, the sector grow very well. And all the sectors will require help from here. That's how we are doing a virtual call, virtual meeting. It's also part of that some media tools. Okay. And now there is a huge demand in game industry, social media, digital marketing. So where people will not be afraid that will not do such kind of job. People will be interested in. Parents are also very much inclined to fund for such trainings. So media entertainment sector welcome you all for these courses and will provide all possible support towards this. Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for these kind words. I'm sure the students might be feeling thrilled about knowing that how much media and entertainment sector is doing in the entire country for the development of this sector and this industry, and they're creating lot of job opportunities. No, it's not about creating or crafting, as you rightly said. Right now, it's growing like anything. We have seen 23% growth in digital marketing area itself during COVID, when all other sectors were going down. So it's one of the booming sector, and these skills are very much required today. So I wish all the students, they would learn these skills and they will have a wonderful career ahead. Once again, thank you so much, sir, for being with us, for being here, taking out your time. Thank you so much.
Welcome,
Yeah.
ma'am. Thanks.
May I now request our faculty member Pooja to take over and take the sessions and create some meaningful value addition to the knowledge base of our students.
Sure, Aarti. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sinha. Sir, thank you so much. It's been absolutely great starting the session with you. I'm hoping that, like you said, this entire session helps these students not only to upskill, but also to actually find a career path. Because I have, right? I have with social media been able to create a career, and I hope that they can do that. So thank you so much, Sinha, sir. Thank you. So hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Pooja Menon. I work as an assistant vice president at Kotak Life Insurance, and I have been in the digital space since 10 years. Actually, from the time it started, right? So I've been there when social media was very, very nascent, when we used to fight for 5% of our budgets to be for digital, and everyone would say that digital won't work. Let's put it in print advertising and let's put it in outdoor. So at the time, I still remember we had to fight for 5% of the budgets to be on digital. Today, 35% of budgets for companies are usually allocated to digital, and now it's even becoming more like they discussed that because of COVID, now the focus has completely gone on to digital, right? So before I start, a small background: I've done my journalism from St. Xavier's College, and from there I started my career because marketing is so close to communications and is all about communications. I started with marketing at that point. I also did my MBA from Wellinger, my MMM, which is your master's in mass media. And I have also done my executive education program from IIM Bangalore, which was a residential course. So post me starting my work is when I've actually gone and studied digital theoretically. So I absolutely appreciate all of you all putting this effort, because I did a part-time MBA and I know how difficult it is to spend your Saturdays and Sundays doing a course. Kudos and hats off to the kind of dedication you all have. What we are going to take you, and I can see a huge batch here. What I wanted to start off with is the basics of what is social media and what is it for a brand and what is it for a consumer, right? Because one of the biggest differences that happen, and as a digital and social media marketer, one of the things we have to realize is that our behavior on social is not exactly how people consume content, right? So for example, it's possible that I spend 2.5 hours in a day on Facebook or on social media, but it's not necessary that everyone else is alike, right? So when we as marketers go on to do our media planning and deciding whether to put budgets in Facebook or to put budgets on, on LinkedIn, one of the things we have to do is disassociate ourselves from the entire thing and understand that there's this huge audience out there, who is who behaves extremely differently on an online space than we do. So that's where all the media insights come in. So while this is a social media course, I'll maybe put in a little bit about digital marketing too, because that social media is such a huge part of digital marketing. And honestly, 80%, and I'll take you through the slides, 80% of everything that we do in digital marketing is social media. So I'll just quickly start presenting. Aarti, would you be able to share host access with me?
So yeah. Sure. Yes, you can share your slides now.
Thank you. So I hope you all can see my screen. So I'll just start off with saying that when we talk about social media, I'll just minimize this. When we talk of social media, right, there is a side wherein you are the one deciding the strategy, or you can be a person who is writing the social media content, which is extremely famous in social media as a career. You can be the person who is designing the graphics, creating the videos, creating the visual component of the entire social media strategy, or you can be a person who is executing the paid campaigns, who is deciding the targeting, who's actually running all of these campaigns by themselves. So you can actually be one of all of these profiles, right? What you also can be is, like my profile is digital marketing and digital business. What you also can end up being is a role wherein there's social media, which is a part of the entire mix, but not the entire array, right? So you have 80% of it which is social, and the remaining 20% can be something else. So when you talk about careers and social, the designation itself does not need to have a social media content manager or a social media strategist. It can literally be something which is a digital marketer or an online business, and you're managing social as a part of it. Now, one of the reasons why social media has become what it has today is purely from a perspective of the fact that the volume on social, right, and the amount of hours we spend. And literally, I was just reading up before this session that an average Indian spends 2 hour 45 minutes on social media in a day. Right now, when we actually look back on it, we don't think that we end up spending so much time, because we spend it in fragments, right? So imagine we are waiting for the session to start, and then we are browsing social, or we're waiting for our Uber, and we scroll through Facebook. The entire interactions on social is so fragmented that people don't realize that they spend so much time on social, right? So when the entire when you look at a human being's life, socials become such an intrinsic part that you don't even realize that it's something else that you're doing. So it's not like a TV time, or it's not like a time you take out to read a newspaper, because it's a part of your online habits. Now, I don't know how many of you, and I can see a lot of different age groups here. So a lot of people would have started using social media when it just launched, right? And you had Friendster and MySpace and all in 2002, 2003. I have actually not used it. I started with Orkut, which I started at the same time as Facebook, and we had this entire generations of people which took on to these mediums, and at that time there was no other alternative, right? So when I had an account on Orkut, there was no one who had an account on Facebook because it had not yet caught up in India. So then all of us together, had groups, and we used to connect with families. And at that time, right, when social media began, the entire objective of social media was never for branding, was never for marketing. It was only so that people could find their connections, could find their far off family members, or to find off people whom they have met with previously, right? So the entire base of why social media started was to create communities and groups. So many years down the line, and nearly 15, 20 years down the line, today social media is now going back to what it was, right? There was this entire phase where brands came in and people started following influencers, and all of that is still there in the form that it is. But today the most important focus of social media has become something we called as purpose driven marketing, right, where brands are driving our purpose, people are driving opinions, views, and whatever they believe in, and they're using social as a medium for dissemination of that information. So today, it's literally saying the entire world has gone around and back to the original place, but today social media is literally back to what it was earlier. So you had a Facebook which actually came into India around 2008, and I still remember when Orkut shut down. By the time all of us pretty much had moved on to Facebook, right? And at that time, the entire point of Facebook, and if you actually went through the news feed, which is what we scroll through, we used to find extremely few ads, right? There hardly was any presence of ads or groups. What we would do is we would go, and I still have, because we have memories on Facebook, I still have posts wherein I've written to someone saying, so glad that the day has ended, today flying off to this place. And I still have those random posts. Today we will never go and put posts, text posts like that on Facebook or Insta or Twitter, right? So the entire way that we have expressed on social has also changed today. Now, as consumers, there is a part of social that we understand or don't understand, and it honestly does not matter too much. But as a brand, when you are a representative of the brand and when you are trying to create an identity for the brand, all of these details become very important, because if you do not understand the pulse of the market and where social media is and what purpose it has in people's life, you will always be doing post which has no resonance with people, right? So if I'm continuously, and if some of you have been on social media, in 2014 to 2015, 16, there was this entire phase where brands would say, I want to put up 6 posts or 7 posts every week, so 1 post daily, or I want to put 3 posts every day on social media, and I want to reach my fans and followers, right? And at that time, we would put up these posts which says, thank you for giving us 10,000 likes, and thank you for giving us 1 lakh followers. We would do all of these posts because at that time followers, likes was very, very important. Today, no one, right, not a single brand focuses on how many likes and followers they have, because there's this entire paid marketing that's come into the picture, where it doesn't matter if the person's liked you or not, but if the person's your audience, you can always show an ad to them. So if you actually look at the entire universe of social, now here there are a lot of duplicates, and the understanding is that there is a 40% duplicacy between all of these channels, right? Which means that out of every 100 people on Facebook, 40 people are also on another channel, right? Which means that 40%. So whenever you're doing some form of campaign, or you're doing any type of targeting, you have to realize you're not reaching unique people, right? I, as a consumer, I have Facebook on my phone, I have LinkedIn on my phone, I have Twitter on my phone, I have YouTube on my phone, I have WhatsApp and Instagram on my phone, right? Which actually means that I'm on across so many platforms, that all of these numbers that you see here, right? So in India, you can see 290 million and you can see 62 million. All of these are a subset of each other. So out of the 62 million people who are on LinkedIn, maybe 40 million or 30 million people are the ones who are on Facebook also, right? So it's not a it's not a unique targeting where, you know, if I want to reach the person, I reach the person only on one platform. I can reach the person across any platforms. Now, there are tools which, you know, tell you what's the kind of duplicacy between two channels. You know, if you go to your agency, the agency will always come back and say, you know, this is your media plan. I'm going to give you 10 lakh people on Facebook. I'm going to reach, you know, 10 lakh people on Twitter. And out of this, we have so much percentage of people who are duplicates, right? So whenever you're starting a campaign, we have to realize that none of these numbers work separately. And all of these guys are, you know, on these platforms, you know, together or separately. Now, like I mentioned, as a consumer, honestly, we don't even think twice about the platforms we are on, right? If I ask all of you all saying which platform do you use the most, all of us will have different answers. So, for example, I have never, even though I have Instagram on my phone, I have never been able to catch on to Instagram as much as, you know, my friends have, right? And we all have individual preferences for channels and, you know, for platforms. And this is something which, you know, how much ever the world changes and platforms evolve, the perspective of why a person likes a particular platform will never change, right? So I am more a story person, right? The entire storytelling person than a visual person. So a lot of people are visual, right? Which is why Instagram works beautifully for them. There are a lot of people who prefer in, you know, who have what do you call it? Who don't want to read long stories, right? They prefer a Snapchat. So basis a person, you know, our attention span, basis our personal preference, the usage of these apps, and though I will have all 5 apps on my phone, the usage of 1 or 2 of these apps particularly will be much more. Now what we try to do as social media marketers is try to understand, saying my audience will be on which app for how much time, will they interact with a video, will they interact with an image, you know, will they be able to associate a campaign with a brand, right? Now what happens is, if you you know, you have that Zuba pe lagam ad, right? If I actually ask you which brand it is, I don't know if you'll remember whether it's Centerfresh or it's Mentos or whatever, right? There are multiple brands that are in our head muddle and the campaign stays in our head. So we don't really remember which brand did it, but we remember the campaign. So there are certain platforms which are great in terms of brand recall, in terms of association. So we know exactly what, you know, the brand is telling us. We are able to interact with the brand back, right? However, there are audiences and there are specific age groups or specific demographics of audiences which behave extremely differently, right? So, for example, my behavior on social media is very, very different from my husband's, right? So I see him and I see him scrolling through videos on Facebook, and I don't. I never actually go to the video section on Facebook. And we both are the same age, right? We both are from the same school and college, and we still have such different behaviors in the entire online behavior and social media consuming behavior, that we have to realize that how much ever we put people in buckets for campaigns, that there are these attributes that you have to be able to pick out and say, this is how this person is different from the other person, right? So as a consumer, when I go on to Facebook, or when you go on to a Facebook or an Instagram, you are looking at only these things, right? One is you want to stay connected to your family, to your friends. The second thing is you want to, you know, follow celebrities, follow mentors, you know, see what news they are putting up or articles they are putting up. And the third one is to get news or information, or on either entertainment, on politics, on finance, one of these things, right? So whenever you consume content, you don't realize that you're doing it separately for these. However, you are actually consuming, you know, all of these content separately, and you will have a preference for a specific type of content. If you go today to your Facebook page and you scroll down, for example, I see out of 10 posts that I scroll down, I see 2 ads, I see 2 groups or sometimes 3 groups. And these are groups, for example, you know, book lovers club or whatever. These are those groups, right? And I see 2 ads and 3 groups. And I would suggest that if you can, whenever possible, just scroll through, see 10 posts and actually 10 posts and see what's the mix you're getting. Basis how many ads you see or how many groups, you know, you post you see, you will realize that Facebook has identified you as being interested in a particular section, right? Like there are a lot of people who get a lot of news articles in their news feed because they have consumed a lot of news through social, right? So eventually at the start of it, you always start a campaign or you start targeting people according to what you think think that they will behave. But post a particular time, you will be able to understand that these people are interested in this, these people are interested in this, and you will start your campaigns basis that. For a brand, however, the objectives are huge, and this is where you all come in, right? If you want a career in social, these are the things you look for. So first is you're looking to drive awareness. So imagine you're working in Samsung, and you have your new launch, your new tablet has launched, or your new laptop has launched. The first thing that you will do is try to drive awareness for the product. The second thing that you will do is say, let me get this guy to fill a lead, or to walk into my store, or go into a Chroma and tell openly that, listen, I am looking for Samsung tablet, right? So developing that need is what you're looking for, which is the consideration stage, where the person, reviews products and then considers your product to shortlist. The third one is wherein you're interacting and engaging with either your existing customers or your prospective customers. Now, here is the point where an entire piece of online reputation management comes into picture. So there are two things in this. One is crisis management and one is online reputation management, right? So for example, when the drug case was happening, the narcotics thing was happening, a lot of these, social media consumers went and bashed the brands whose names were being who were associated with these celebrities, right? So people said ban the product because the product is using this person as a celebrity. And these are situations which are crisis management, right? Wherein literally, when I used to work for Birla Sun Life Insurance, I still remember, we had a very big celebrity whose relative had not got surrender claim, which is, when you want to give up your policy and you get back money. And that person had not got a surrender claim, and she came and wrote on her page, and she had some 7 million followers, and everyone, because she put that post up, everyone came and started bashing Aditya Birla Sun Life, right? So these are things, at that time, and I'm not kidding you, 36 hours, we were literally sitting and working. We were in office the entire time managing the crisis. So in social media, there are people who manage online reputation management too. This can be a part of your regular social media work, or it can be an actual job. So, when you're looking for jobs, also look for jobs with the name or the role online reputation management, because it's something which is a huge part. So all companies, right, whether it's a big basket, whether it's an Amazon, whenever you go into social, or an Uber, whenever you go into social and you write a complaint or write a query, the response that you get immediately, right, is online reputation management. So that's also a huge part of what you do. Now, the skill set that's required for that is two. One is communication, and the second thing is understanding of human behavior in a political environment, seeing how do people react, right? So that's a different skill set completely. Now, the last thing is to drive advocacy. So social media is supposed to be the best for peer-to-peer review. If you have to promote a particular brand, or make sure that people come and write about your product, because peer-to-peer reviews is supposed to be a huge driver in purchase. So if you want that, then social media also can do that for you. Now, as a platform, and I don't know how many of you would have seen The Social Dilemma, which is on Netflix. As a brand, as Facebook or as Twitter or as LinkedIn, or as Instagram, as a company itself, right? What does the platform want to achieve? So for the platform, there are only three things they want to achieve. One is engagement, which is to get more and more people to visit your platform, to like or view your video, to actually engage with the platform itself. The second thing they need is more and more users, right? Because a lot of these platforms, if you see LinkedIn and all, they have a very small percentage of people compared to the bigger platforms. So they want more and more users to join them. The third thing here is advertising, which is they want budgets from social media brands itself to pay them. Now here, like I mentioned, social media is 80% of everything that we do in digital marketing. So when you go to a company, you are interviewing, for an HDFC bank, there are proper people who handle social media, because handling all of these, handling the organic part of it, handling the content, handling the paid campaigns, this is a huge part in itself, right? And social media is something where, because people like to keep moving jobs and experiencing different categories of brands, there are jobs that keep coming up all the time, right? Because people move from one company to the other. There is a scope for increasing budgets on a particular platform, and you will have people who are being given these roles. So there are also companies. So if you're actually an FMCG, or if you're a, a youth brand, you will have a lot of, people who are specifically managing, these pages. So you will have a YouTube manager, or YouTube content manager, or you will have a, content manager. You will have these kind of roles, or an influencer marketing person in the team, because the scope of it is so huge, and they keep doing all of these campaigns, on a daily basis, which is why there are also roles which are that way. Now, the reason we do social, and I'll quickly take you through this. The first reason is because digital marketing, right, has a, for targeting, has a very limited scope in terms of how you can find the person. One, you have Google search, which is a person searching for you on Google, which means that the only people you can target are people who are searching for you, either your brand, right? They're searching for HDFC home loan, or they are going and searching for home loan, right? Which means HDFC ad can pop up. So Google search is still a very small volume of people. And, when you have 2 billion people and all, on social media, that's a huge market where you can get people, right? Because what happens is, if you have 3 lakh monthly searches on Google, right, and there are 11 brands which are bidding on the keyword, you will only be able to get a section of their entire pie, right? You can't get the entire audience, which means how much ever more money you keep putting, you cannot increase that, in that a quicker manner, right? What social media does is, because it has such a huge audience, it is not only able to get people who are interested or will be interested today, but it can also get you prospective people who may be interested later, right? So the entire base of social media is never immediate purchase, even though e-commerce can do it very well, and Amazon can do it, or Pepperfry can do it very well, where they're showing an ad and they are getting the person to instantly buy. Most of the products that we sell on social media have some kind of span of purchase, right? So if if you're running a campaign, you will be able to see in how many days do people start converting. And there's an average where you will see a huge spike of conversions, and that's when you know that that's your average cycle for conversion, right? So all social media campaigns work on the premise that there may not be immediate purchase, but there can be a purchase in the later stage. So whenever you're doing social media, don't only look at the direct attribute. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So whenever you're doing social media, please note that the main base of this entire thing is to start with the fact that, why am I doing social? What is my purpose as a brand?
Just a minute, Pooja. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for being here. We know so many commitments you have today, and thanks for taking out your time and being with us despite all those commitments. It was pleasure having you over here.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everybody. Thank you.
Have a wonderful day, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Pooja, you can continue now.
No problem. So you start with the fact saying, what is your purpose, right? Is your purpose to drive immediate conversions? Is your purpose to just build a brand so that when people look, so imagine I want to buy a refrigerator, right? If I've seen a lot of ads of Samsung refrigerator, the possibility that when I want a refrigerator after 3 months, I think of Samsung because it's top of the mind recall, that will be much higher, right? So a lot of brands come into social with the understanding that social has to be only used for awareness and consideration stage. The ones that use it for purchase, right, which is a final conversion, either a lead or a final purchase, whoever comes knowing or wanting that as a medium, only come knowing the fact that they have a journey which is either immediate, which is an online purchase, an e-commerce purchase, or they're asking for a lead form where they have a call center calling them back and asking for more information, right? So those are the ones where social media works beautifully in terms of conversions. Are there any questions till now? Hello. Okay, so I'll move forward. So like I said, imagine, and let's take a brand like Dell, right? Dell, which sells laptops. When Dell comes onto social media, Dell already has a presence, right? Dell has done a lot of campaigns offline, has done a lot of campaigns on in newspapers, outdoor. When you walk into a Chroma, you see Dell advertising. The thing is, you have a huge presence of these brands on offline anyway, right? So when a brand like that comes in the online space, the first thing they do is say, and you have to always choose one of two objectives, right? So you will always have a business objective and you will have a media objective. Your business objective may be to get more walk-ins into, you know, your Samsung store. You know, your objective may be to get more purchases. Your media objective, however, will be saying, I want maximum clicks or I want maximum video views, right? Whenever you have a business objective and a media objective, the media objective also has a primary media objective and a secondary media objective. Now, in the primary and secondary, you start off by choosing one of these things. So what do you want to do? Awareness? Do you want to do consideration, purchase, delight, advocacy? Now this is, you know, technically our marketing funnel, but here is where you say that, listen, the campaign I want to drive, I'm putting 1 crore in it. Out of that 1 crore, am I looking to get maximum people to see my ad? Am I getting, or do I not want impressions, right? So the difference between reach and impressions is reach is one person and impressions is how many times did that one person see your ad. So reach, so I have seen that 3 times, so 1 into 3 is impressions, right? So 3 times is the impressions, but the reach is only to one person, which is me. So is my goal to drive, you know, maximum reach to everyone? Is it that I want people to see 75% of the video I created? Is it to drive people to the website so I can get, you know, more organic traffic? At this point is when you decide, you know, one primary and one secondary media objective, and this is what you have to judge your entire campaign or your spends or your focus at, right? So at the end of the year, when you look back and you're saying this campaign was successful or not successful, or this platform worked for me or didn't work for me, you only should use these two metrics to determine whether it's worked for you or not. Now, purchase. In purchase, what happens is there are two things, right? One is you have new purchases, people who have, you know, not come to you or bought from you before. That is the one where you do normal targeting and you get those guys. But what about people who are your existing people? Now, social media has an opportunity wherein you can remarket to people, right? You remarket to people who already are your customers, or you can market to people who are similar to your customers. So what you do is you take out your list of email addresses and or mobile numbers, you upload it on the platform. So upload it on a Twitter, upload it on a LinkedIn or a Facebook, right? And say that I want to show an ad to all of these people. So if someone has come and bought a, let's say a home loan from you, you can go and tell the person that, listen, I upload the database of those people. So this person's there in that, and say that a new top-up offer available to you at 6% interest rate, right? So whoever's your existing customer, you can ask them for an upsell or use an upsell campaign on these guys using this medium. The other way that this works is there's also an option of lookalike, which is people who are similar to my people, right? So I have customers who, you know, are this profile of people. I will get, and these are my existing good customers, right? So I can upload the database and I can say I want everyone who is similar to that customer, because usually a person who is similar to that customer may have a similar need. This also works in a different way, wherein I can upload a database of my bad customers. Now, this usually happens in terms of loans. So imagine in HDFC, if there are people defaulting on loans, right? HDFC can upload a database of people who are defaulting on loans, and, you know, say that I want to exclude everyone who's a lookalike of this audience, right? And that also actually works brilliantly. Now, advocacy works in a little different and interesting way, because what happens is you want people to put a review for your website, right? Or your product, but people don't care, right? If I tell you that go and put in a review for Amazon or on TripAdvisor, you will not, right? Because it's too much of a hassle for all of us. So what brands do, and recently, you know, I bought something from Pepperfry, and Pepperfry said that if you put a Google, and this was not a review, but it was a rating on Google Play Store for the Pepperfry app, and upload the screenshot of that and send it to us on this email ID, we will give you 10,000 rupees of credit in your wallet for free, right? I had nothing else to buy, but I actually went and I did it just to see how it works. Within 72 hours, they actually gave me 10,000 rupees worth of credits back in my Pepperfry wallet, right? So a lot of companies, they understand how important it is, because when you go to Google Play Store especially, you will see, and basis the number of stars, right, you decide whether to download it or not. So advocacy is such an important thing, that one person saying that this product is pathetic, and most of the people will not buy, right? So if you're trying to buy, for example, a toaster on Amazon, and if you have out of 20 reviews, if you have one person who said that the toaster stopped working on day one, you will not buy the product, right? So advocacy has such a huge impact. So social media is one place where you can, and all of this, right? Pepperfry actually called me and told me this. But if they had to do it any other way, then they would have used social media to drive, because that's the easier way, right? Imagine calling so many people up and saying, so you can use social media as something to drive positive reviews. Now, whenever you're deciding a career, you can be in the organic social part of it, or you can be in the paid social part of it, right? Social media was organic. So, I mean, was organic for a long, long time. For many, many years, that was the main thing of social. Today, unfortunately, what happens is whichever platform you use, your reach and the number of people you're able to reach without money is negligible, right? You put up a post just like that, and you will not be able to find any followers. So the entire thing of organic versus social is at least a 3-year-old phenomena only, wherein people only put up on social, so that when someone sees an ad somewhere, clicks on the page icon on the logo and comes to the page, that there's some content that is there, right? So it's not an empty thing. Now, I'll just quickly show you. So if you see this, right, this is Coca-Cola's official page. Now, the last post that so this is the pinned post, right, which is December 25th. Now, the last post that they did was 5 days ago, right? Then they have one which is December 31st, right, which is December 31st. If you see, and this is Coca-Cola, right, this is not a small brand, you will be able to see that there are only so many people who have liked their posts. This is organic social, right? Whatever's on the page, whatever's on this page, and this is their official page, this is their organic post. This does not, and this you can see has a huge amount, and this has a call to action button, which means that this was a paid post, right? They paid money for it, which is why it has reached so many people. But the post you can otherwise see, right? And look at the number of people they have. They have so many followers, and out of that, only 588 people here, 237 people here have liked or reacted to it, right? So today the entire part of social media is, if you don't put monies in the post, then it does not work at all, right? So what we do is this: we use today the organic social role is managed by the person who is the content or the social media strategist, because they decide what has to be put on the page, how the page should look, what is the you can see the banner, right? What is the cover photo? That person decides that. The other person is the one who says that, listen, if Coca-Cola wants to reach at the 18 to 20-year-old audience with an ad about college, then this is how you do it. This should be this should be the video. This should be the targeting. That is decided by the paid social guys. What you can control in a campaign, right? You can either decide that the campaign has to be 365 days, which is all the time there's some or the other campaign going on, or you can keep it only for a specific period. So today, for example, is Valentine's Day. Coke can have a special video campaign only about Valentine's Day, which it will promote to people who are its audiences, right? Now, in organic social, and we'll in subsequent classes we'll do the social media calendar. You have to decide what content goes where, right? Like I said, now social media has become such a purpose-driven marketing that you can't say that I will only put up posts which are about my product. So I'll just show you. So this is Doritos, right? Now Doritos is such a simple, FMCG product, right? There is like no two ways about it, that it just literally selling, nachos chips. If you see the kind of campaigns it does, and this is a tie-up that it has with Airtel for some 2 GB data free. This was a user-generated content. So on social, a lot of these bigger guys, they do user-generated content, which says that send in your entries by tagging us, right? Then you will, whoever wins, you will put up a post saying that these are the winners and you will give them something for it. Now, this, for example, right, was about Van Diesel. Now, all of these things, who is the person who decides what is a post that goes up on the page or what is the post that has to be promoted? That is done at the social media calendar level, right? Now, all of these things are about the product, right? Where you're selling the product itself. However, let me show you this. This is Uber, right? First, they're talking about partnering to increase COVID. Now, Uber has nothing to do with COVID, right? It still is putting up a post about partnership with COVID. Then, see, this is about their same thing. They were launching this entire thing. See, all of its posts, right? They're not selling cabs. They're not saying drive our cabs, right? They literally, see, they're talking about sustainability. They're talking about everything which is other than the product itself. Now, this can only be done by a brand on social when the brand is so famous or when the brand has hit a level where it does not need to say that Uber is a cab app, right? It does not need to today go and say that. That's why all of these other things that you see is because Uber today can take that step to being that. Doritos, unfortunately, cannot, right? Because Doritos is still not that famous, which means Doritos still in the center of every, oh, sorry, where did that go? At the center of everything, they will still talk about their product, right? Because they're still at the product promotion stage. So the social media strategy is driven a huge level by the fact that where is the company in the company life cycle, right? Is it a new launch? Has a company been there for a long time? Is it literally like top of the industry? And basis that it gets decided. Now, Mercedes-Benz, for example, right? This is their page. You can see that there's a mix of products, there's a mix of offers, there's a mix of other posts also. They actually are at a level, and it's not like Mercedes is not famous enough, right? But it means that they're still on social media trying to build a brand image. They're trying to build a following, right? Which is why this entire thing is broken up into both product plus normal generic promotional content. So here also a lot of companies, what they do, if they have senior management which has been there for a long time, they have a lot of content which is about senior management, leadership tips, knowledge center. They try to use social as a medium to stand out in the in the entire market as a knowledge sharing house, right? As a knowledge sharing hub. So, while we go through the other sessions, on different platforms, you will see that especially on Twitter and LinkedIn, this is used a lot, right? You have companies which manage their own leadership profile pages. So you have, for example, Narayan Murthy's page, you will have an Infosys social media person who is actually handling his page. So it is not him who's handling his page, there's someone else who's handling. One of the biggest deviators from this is Anand Mahindra, because he manages his own page and he does it beautifully, right? He's one of the main people that people follow on social and in the out of the Indian leadership team. So this, however, you will have a lot of companies where the CEO's handle is managed by the social media person itself. Now here, one of the things that also happens is if you're active on social, right? A lot of people start tagging the CEO when they're complaining. So, if they have not got the product or like for example, Amazon delivery is not happening, people tag Jeff Bezos, right? So you have a lot of people who start tagging the person CEO's handle and writing complaints. What we do at this stage is we had that online reputation management we spoke about, right? People actually will have, maybe the handle is managed by both the company and the person, but there is that handle actually goes to the online reputation management team and they respond to people who tag the CEO, right? And that's a full-fledged job. I mean, literally, it's like a job that people hire for. And if that's something that you all are interested in, feel free to let me know and maybe I'll give you more information on how that's actually done. Now, what companies also do is they use this as a medium for employer branding, which means that, they want employees to come and join them, because most of the people, in normal situation end up having one or two offers together and, they go to the one which has a better brand image. So a lot of employer branding campaigns about events that happen in office, awards, all of that also get promoted through social. Now, when you're running a campaign, right, especially at, this, when we are teaching the different channels and platforms, you'll anyway go through it in much more detail. But in general, when you're running an ad, what you look at is saying, how do you select an audience? Who is your audience? And please note this, okay, your offline audience may be very different from an online audience. So someone who walks into a arrow shop, right, or a Van Heusen shop offline will be very different from a person who is buying Van Heusen online, right? So it's possible that I would never have seen Van Heusen, or enter the Van Heusen offline because it's very intimidating for me, right? But when I go onto an Amazon and I see a 50% off, I'll go and buy it. So whenever a Van Heusen's deciding its strategy, Van Heusen can't say that people who walk into my store are all 45-year plus, so I will only sell to 45-year plus, right? A social media audience will always be different from an offline audience for every product other than if it's an FMCG product, right? Because FMCG is just bought off the store, no intimidation, no store to worry about. So then that's easy. So, you go and buy Doritos from a shop, you will also buy it online and it's the same customer. But most of these brands will have a different audience. So for example, people who walk into a bank, I don't know when was the last time I walked into a bank, right? So there are audiences who will never walk into a bank. If the bank says that I'm trying to sell loans and I want to only sell it to people, like the people who have walked into my bank, they will never be able to find an audience like me, right? So keep your audience profiling whenever you're doing social media, right? The first step we do is we create audience profiling. And literally this is, having these random images of people, right? And saying that this person may like this, may consume this, may go for a run every morning, maybe working in this place. We actually create these different profiles of people and we share them with the agency or whoever's working on the campaign. And that person bases that, replicates that kind of profiling on an online space. And that's how the entire thing is decided. So, I'll not take you all through this because this will be too much now, but it's technically saying there is only so much that you have to decide. But each of these components has so much of logic behind. So, for example, on what basis do you bid, right? You can either pay for 1,000 people seeing your ad banner, right? Just seeing your ad banner, which is a CPM, which is cost per milli, which is technically a word for 1,000 impressions. So you can either pay for 1,000 impressions, you can pay for every click, you can pay for every lead. Now this actually seems to be very easy. You will say, why should we, either we do all impressions or we do all clicks or we do all leads, but it doesn't work like that. There are certain campaigns and there are certain industry and categories which perform very well on a certain type of ad, right? So if I'm doing a brand campaign, I want more and more people to see it. But if I have an offer, I want people to click on it and come to the landing page. So that decision is, every campaign will have a different bidding model, right? And it also depends a lot on budgets. Do I have 5 lakh rupees or do I have 50 lakh rupees, right? Also, the other things, like I said, a lot of people consume videos on social. A lot of people only consume stories. A lot of people only consume text. Your audience, and always try doing a sample pilot before starting any campaign, or when you're even doing a content calendar, start with a small pilot at least for 15 days to check whether it's getting enough of traction. If you're getting enough people clicking on it, they're all, one of the biggest best parts of social media is the fact that there's A/B testing possible, right? You can put up two different, images with the same text copy, and you can figure out which image works better. Or you can do it vice versa, where you have same image and different text copy. You have different call to action. One says buy online, one says apply online. See which one's working better, right? So the entire A/B testing is possible on social, which otherwise is not possible on other channels. Then we discussed about lookalike and similar. So lookalike audience, like I mentioned, is people who are like your existing customers. Custom audience is upselling to your existing audience, so uploading the database of your existing customers and doing a campaign. The last thing, and this is supposed to be such a small thing, right, which is a call to action, saying what is the button saying? Does it say download? Does it say no more? Does it say learn more? The entire campaigns flop and get successful only because of this one thing. If people click on a button, seeing something, they go onto the landing page, right, and they believe you've fooled them, they will go out, right? A lot of times you will say buy online and you take them to a page which is just a lead form, right? Where they will get a call back and the person gets pissed off because the person is expecting an online journey, right? So call to actions are, the most smallest things. People don't even look at it. People say, kuch bhi laga do, but that's not how this works, right? The person believes you're fooling them or not basis what the call to action is. So just and after this, we'll just, quickly go through any questions you all have. But when you're starting a campaign, the first thing you say is my audience even available on the platform? Right now, let me put it this way. There are a lot of audiences available on the platform, and we wanted to do an affordable housing campaign. You have the affordable audience campaign on social, right? Those guys are the same guys who are consuming social as we are, going onto Facebook, watching videos on YouTube. However, what happens is it's very difficult to get them to do an action after seeing that ad, right? So, someone who used to help me at home, she has 3 kids, she has a mobile phone. She and her kids watch serials on the mobile phone on Z5, right? They watch Kannada articles on, Kannada shows on Z5. Now, when I'm doing it, it's not like they're not consuming content, right? But if I show her an ad for affordable housing, the point is to understand, saying is, will she be able to go through the journey of filling a lead form, or of, or of actually going through the journey of understanding the different products or what we are saying. So what we do is, here at this point we use social as only a mechanism of branding, plus we can have a button which is request a call back, right? You have a click to call option where you click on it, give a missed call, and the brand will call you back. So wherever you feel that the audience is available on social but may not be able to take action on social, use social as a mechanism for branding and then have a click to call campaign. So the person gives a missed call, you can understand that the person is interested. The person can be called back by a call center person who speaks Kannada, who will take the person through the product and take the journey offline. So it's not a complete online journey, right? Now, as a brand, like I said, either you are there for promoting your product, or you're there for driving a purpose, or you're there for both, right? A lot of brands come there and, like a Doritos, only and only promote their own product. When that happens, my question is, how many of you will actually like that page and be willing to see, every 5 days of campaign with a Dorito product, right? It is not something that gives any information to the customer. It's not interactive, it's not engaging. So whenever you're planning a campaign, make sure that it's not 100% or 80% product driven, because though they want to create their brand presence, that way is not giving any story, right? There's no background story, there's just a pure product promotion. It's literally like a leaflet being shown at your face. So never use social only for pure product promotions. They'll never work. Now, the other thing that is extremely important to ask is social media my primary platform, or is it a secondary platform? There are a lot of brands which use social as the main platform, right? Which say that, okay, I have a TV, I have outdoor, but social is my main thing because I get to know how many people are actually interested, right? Outdoor, you put a billboard, you don't know how many people have seen it. So because of the measurability, a lot of people choose to put social as a main product. However, for example, I used to work with, VIP, the bags section, a couple of years ago. And at that time, what happened is the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer, clearly said that, Pooja, every time I put a VIP billboard or I do a TVC, which is a TV campaign, I can directly see people walking into my store. Digital, however, because people buy it online, I don't have the opportunity to talk to the customer and tell them to buy one more brand, right? One more bag. So what they do is, when someone walks into a VIP showroom looking to buy a duffel bag, that person, because the salesperson is there, salesperson also tells here, also buy a handbag, or also buy a luggage suitcase. So they're able to sell more ticket size in one interaction than they do on online, right? Because online, the person comes, wants to buy a duffel bag, buys the duffel bag and goes. So for certain companies, it is not social media, though it drives the objective, it's still not going to be ever the main platform because they have a different reason for it. So ask questions to your brand person or your chief marketing officer or your business head and understand if there are any restrictions or background understanding of these things, which may impact the budgets that social gets. Also, if you are a product which does not have a post-purchase involvement, so for example, if I buy a refrigerator, I am not going to engage with Samsung for at least the another 5-6 years till I don't have a complaint. And if I have a complaint, I will not engage on social. I'll call up the customer service, right? So in such cases, if you're a brand which does not have an immediate second purchase or does not have a post purchase, then there is no use of spending a lot of money on social, because you're not going to get people who have purchased your product, who are actually supposed to be advocates, right? New guys will still not come and like and interact and share your information as much, but your existing customers also don't have any reason to, because there's no post involvement, post purchase involvement. So in those cases, don't put a lot of your budgets into social media for driving that objective. Also, start with doing a competitor analysis. Figure out if your competitors have a presence on social and what they are doing. Right now, for example, there is, there are one of the case studies I'm going to take you all through later is WeWork. Right, WeWork is a pure B2B company. There is no B2C involved, but WeWork is one of the main companies that do social media the best. If you actually go to social, WeWork on Insta and Facebook and all, you will see it does social media beautifully. Especially its Instagram is actually an award winner also. So if you have, a WeWork's competitors don't have social media presence, right? So WeWork is literally a different league in itself. But when you're starting, there are very few companies which, when they look at competitors, they will see that there's no presence. If there's no presence, the only way it helps, it's not that you don't have to do social. The only way it helps is that the fact that even with little budgets, you'll be able to achieve a lot, right? Because you're not competing against anyone in that space. So if you're able to do that competitor analysis and figure out that you don't need too much of budgets, then you're actually saving a lot of money. Now, one of the biggest things is if the company or the business does not have budgets at that point, don't spend money on content itself, right? So I'll tell you one of the mistakes people do. They spend 10 lakh rupees on making a video, and they only put another 10 lakh rupees for promoting the video, right? The rule, and literally it's a rule, is that if you are spending 10 rupees on making some asset on social or digital, you have to spend 3 times the amount for promoting it. So if you made it for 1 lakh rupees, spend 3 lakhs to promote it. Otherwise, it doesn't give ROI, right? Otherwise, if you don't have, and there are cases where last year we didn't have any budgets, right? In cases that you don't have budgets, do not spend money for creating content itself, because content is very expensive. You go to create an infographic, it costs between 10 to 15,000 rupees. You go to make a video, minimum is 35-40,000 rupees, right? So do not go on to platforms if you don't have the budget to promote it, because it's a waste of your initial investment itself. We already discussed about the company life cycle, saying what stage is a company at, and is it important for me to be on social? If it is, then what am I supposed to do on social? If you are in the decline stage, for example, social may really help you engage with your existing customers. So if you have, because you'll obviously be in the growth and maturity stage, you will have a lot of database with you. Upload the database and engage with that audience. So it really will help in a decline stage. When you're introducing, social is just one of the methods, right? You're introducing, you're in the introduction stage of your product. At that time, it's just one of the things. But at decline, it's actually a very, very important element of media planning. Also, we discussed this about am I generating a hand raiser or am I getting an online journey? If you're an e-commerce, if you're Carrot Lane, if you're if you're Pepperfry, if you're any of these guys that can be bought online, then it's simple, right? Then you have an end-to-end journey. So you put in 1 crore rupees, eventually you are able to make 2 crore rupees, and what is the return on investment on that 1 crore, right? The other cases where you don't have an online journey, what you should do is you spend 1 crore, through your lead management system, you're tracking how many people have actually converted out of all the leads or hand raisers you got, and map it back. So there is a derived ROI, but there is an ROI, right? You're able to figure out if the entire thing is working. Today, social media is 100% ROI driven. How much ever people say that it's branding, and it is branding, but everyone goes back and searches for return on investment on each and every penny they spend on social. Also, if you're a serious product, right? If you have something which is extremely serious, don't spend a lot of money, putting up posts and content on social, because people will not consume it, right? No one goes, when you go onto an Instagram, you are not looking at, interacting with a mutual funds customer or a insurance. I'm from insurance, right? You're not looking at interacting with financial boring products. So if you are these, either you start telling stories in a very, very beautiful way so people consume stories, right? Or spend only enough to promote your content to people who are interested in finance or mutual fund or whatever. Do not go and just spend random monies, because it's eventually, at the end of the year, you'll be asked what happened. And then if that ROI does not show, it doesn't make sense, right? So if it's a serious product, relook at why you're doing it and what is your objective before going for it. Now, there are these things I wanted to show you. So what happened is, when McDonald's started, they had actually discontinued a product which was Megril, right? I think most of you all will know this product. When McDonald's discontinued the product, there was an online application which people started signing, like a signed petition online, which people started signing to get Megril back, right? What McDonald's did is they used the idea and they officially launched a campaign which had a hashtag saying bring this back. So I'll just, sorry, this is open somewhere else. Just give me 1 second. I'll quickly go through the others. So what happens is that McDonald's actually used the opportunity that was created by a normal petition that someone started. They created an influencer. What you see here is an influencer campaign, right, with celebrities. So there's a normal influencer campaign, and there's a cat A, which is through influencers, which are celebrities, and your cat B, which is normal influencers, right, who have a lot of followers. They actually started a celebrity influencer campaign to use that. They were anyway planning to bring it back, but they still used it to create a brand following. And they actually then did a campaign which said that we bought it back. today influencer marketing has become a very, very big part of social media, right? Because a lot of people have, they believe in celebrities a lot more than normal people and a lot more than us. So a lot of campaigns when they launch, especially the bigger ones, they all start with influencer campaigns. I will also take you through PhonePe's page. So PhonePe is in direct, competition with the biggies, right? I mean, whether it's your Google Pay or Paytm, it's actually, fighting with a lot of big guys. What they did is they have started this entire campaign, and you have this entire campaign of Paytm Karo, right? They have started this campaign, which is Har Phone Pay, hai, which I'll just show you. So it's a 2-minute video. So what happens is one of the reasons that brands, when they adopted social, they were able to experiment with the size of the content itself, right? Because a 2-minute video, if you go to play on TV for 30 seconds itself, you pay crores, right? So if you go to play a 2-minute video on TV, you will have to like literally finish your marketing budgets in one campaign. So social is somewhere where you can experiment with long form. You have 6-minute, 6-second bumper ads on YouTube, on Facebook, they recommend 10 to 15 seconds. You have all of these different formats that work. And that is something that, all big companies who do social media are able to experiment with. So, whatever you start with, right, for whichever company category you start with, always try these different types of first formats, which is either your image, your gifs, your videos, and also try with seeing what is the content, what is the content viewing in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 2 minutes, so what is the kind of things that people consume. So I think this is actually the last. We'll take questions that you all have, and if any of you want to tell about what are you all looking at from this course, or what is it that you all want to do after this, and I'll be happy to answer. Hello.
Yeah, lovely session, Pooja. A lot of information. I think they are processing it. Students, I think if we have to learn, it should be a two-way thing. You need to ask the questions. You need to grill your instructors, your faculty members. Otherwise, real learning will not happen. Right? So please ask questions. I want you to irritate Pooja.
Ma'am, Rakshit here. I just wanted to ask, will we be getting experience on tool like Google AdWords or Facebook Ad Manager?
So this course, it does not have Google, right? It's a social media course. There is a digital course that Aarti can help you with, but in this course, we are going to go through the tool itself. we will be
Okay.
going through, because what happens is, till the time, and like I said, paid is such an important part of social media now, that if you don't know how to actually go ahead and search for the audiences and find out how to target them and how to bid for it, then the entire part of this course will not help. So that's something we will be taking up.